so it's beginning of May. And I still haven't cleaned up the wall there. We have some honeysuckle coming through, and I have mixed feelings about whether or not to let it be there. We never trimmed back our oregano, and then all of it starting to come up. We can still take off all this stuff, so that might make my job easier in the long run. Evening primrose still kicking. We had a really ferocious rain yesterday, the night before. Looks like we got a little bit. Maybe it's really foggy this morning too. I'm trying to see. We have some things that were starting to pop up in here. Got a dahlia that overwintered in the ground just fine. Got Tradescantia that I just popped in here. Thyme. And I know I've got, there's a mustard that's getting squashed. I think the primrose is kind of eating everything. And there is an Artemisia in here somewhere. Oh well, I'll have to let that be for the time being, I guess. And sage is blooming. Got little yarrows popping up everywhere. Achillea. There's a red yarrow. So I let the mustard throw out seeds, the red mustard, and then I also came and distributed seeds. So a bunch of it took. Mustard is supposed to be a bioaccumulator, which means it pulls a lot of things out of the soil, including toxins. That is scarlet kale, and that is a red Russian kale. There is a sea holly right there. That was poppy, a little dirt spot there, but the squirrels don't let me have poppies. They keep pulling them out. But so yeah, bioaccumulators to help pull toxins out of the soil, because this is so close to the road. I'm sure there's the road noise coming through. That little guy right back there is a rue. Just put that in. Got that at a regional plant sale. Speaking of which, there's a poppy. I did have a couple of bigger ones that I put out here, and my strategy was to put a little rock on the pot, and then also some of them I put garlic around them. I pulled up some of the wild garlic. But yeah, I put in all of these strawberries as a ground cover because they spread really rapidly, and they're all coming in, which is lovely. And they did do a good job filling up the space, but because this is so close to the road and an old neighborhood, there's a very good likelihood of a lot of lead in the soil. So I've heard mixed things on whether or not that fruit would be safe. So until I have it tested, I don't harvest any of these. So more Achillea, more mustard. Something took some bites out of my kales that I put in there. We do have very greedy groundhogs. I shouldn't call them greedy, they're just being groundhogs. I pinched them in back there. But they like to chomp things. Iris is still hanging on. The only one of its friends, you see all the taller leaves there, those are all iris. A couple of wild garlic thrown in. That's the only one that's bloomed. But they threw out leaves way too early. creeping phlox there, and catmint. And I was afraid they wouldn't send up flowers at all, but one of them did. So come on, guys, like anytime. More creeping phlox. Looks like the yarrow is about to bloom. Some amethyst up there. Kale's looking good. Another penstemon right there putting on a flower. Bacalea it's super tough, drought tolerant. Looks like it's multiplying on its own too. Summertime. We got a couple little heucheras in there, a little group of them. So yeah, prickly pear, sedums, and then let's come up around. Some wild grapes that keep growing in that crack there. Alright, did a lot yesterday. These are, well, this wasn't yesterday, but a couple days ago. Finally put some of my French lilacs in the ground. So these have white blooms. I've decided to move the one that's over there over here, but I'm going to give it some time since I just put it in the ground. Did all of this yesterday, so finally buried this line. Wish I could figure out a way to get rid of that, but for the time being, that's what has to happen until we can figure out a more permanent solution and didn't have to look crappy everywhere. So dahlia also, all the dahlias have overwintered, and they're supposed to be marginal here, so you're supposed to dig them up. I've done that a couple of years, and last year I just decided, nope, I'm just going to let them stay in the ground and see what happens. And almost all of them have come up. So Arabian Nights dahlia, and then the little dark leaf ones are Dracula dahlias. This is a zebra crossing dianthus, which I was delighted to find out is at least biennial, if not perennial. Calla lilies that I pre-sprouted. I don't know what color these are because there's an assortment, but I'm going to let them grow and then keep the colors I want. That is, I believe, a Dracula dahlia. Dracula dahlia. That is a Dracula dahlia. That is a Barracuda calla lily. My peonies started blooming, and I probably should come cut them so they can stand back up. But the rain just kind of dropped them down, but I'll come back and cut some. And my pomegranate, I've had this for, I don't know, probably 10 years, and it hasn't bloomed except for the first 2 years that I had it, but I had it in a pot. I decided a couple years ago to put it in the ground, and the first year we had a super cold, really bitter winter, and it died almost to the ground, but it's putting on its first flowers in probably 8 years. So she's finally happy there. I'm very happy to see it. And have a friend for her. So one day we'll get fruit. Although I think this is supposed to be a self-fertile variety, but we'll see. But she's flowering, so that helps. That's a clematis back there. We got some more peonies behind that are about to bloom there. Very exciting. Turn around and come back this way for a second. So this is the French lilac I put in, I don't know, a week or two ago, and it's going to get moved over there. Fig tree is doing well. But back to this little spot. So I put in a couple of poppies to replace the ones that the squirrels dug up from last week. These were a little bit bigger. And so my strategy here is to put some wild garlic next to it and put rocks on the pot. And apparently that helps. And it's Put in hollyhocks the other day. Black hollyhocks look like they've been chomped off, so I don't know what happened there. And then yesterday, did a lot of things outside of the big drainage deal there. Put in some spirits and wine Nigella here and here. And I have a third one that is going to go somewhere over there. But as part of my drainage project, my intention here, you can see all of this. This is also, these are to level out the rain barrels. But since we had a bunch of rain, they're all full again. I had just emptied them out. So, there's only so many hours in the day though, right? And it's something I need more than my hands for. But we're going to put a trench essentially all through here. So in the middle of all this showy evening primrose, we're going to have a trench. This is going to feed out, and then hopefully it's going to sort of help keep water on the property, keep it from running off, and help feed more than just the sand cherry there, because apparently it gets all the water and is very happy about it. But to show a couple more things, there's hollyhock coming here, gladiolus there. Do have a hibiscus that is in the ground, and it's basically coming back up from the roots, I believe. So it's that right there. The penstemons. And I did plant another lilac here, and I don't know where it went. So I don't know if something ate it, if it just was so unhappy it just died quickly, or maybe I just lost track of it because there's so much primrose eating everything. But so all of our irises are done here. 9 bark, and is hyssop and hollyhocks. A giant mullein. I do have a little island of hollyhocks. Looks like they're starting to put on the buds in the middle of the walkway here. That is, as you can see, not finished. And then back here, got some Gerber daisies that were inherited that just keep coming back. Scabiosa, that was part of a wildflower seed mix that I'd spread ages ago, and have some over there, so birds maybe planted some over there for me. A catmint that I need to move because it's in front of the gate now. And this is Salavatsky pomegranate, little baby friend for my other pomegranate. So if it needs a pollinator, we'll eventually have one. And if it doesn't, then it'll just have a friend and make better fruit. That was a couple weeks ago's drainage project that finally got buried. There's a lot of anise hyssop in there. That's all raspberry. Did move my forsythia, which is probably in a couple of years it'll be fine and won't be crowded out by anise hyssop. But for this year, looks like it. Okay. One day I'll have level rain barrels and pretty much buried drain pipes. It'd be so nice. Alright. Got a lavender that's sprouting up from the middle, so it makes me think I need to come back and trim all that sort of scraggly growth around the outside. I'm not very good at keeping plants tidy, I guess. Kind of let them do what they want to do. There's some irises. Yep, broken window that we don't know how that happened, but since there's a window on the inside, we haven't been in a hurry to get it fixed. So there's that. Alright, and then some heucheras and hosta And then back here, my shade garden. In my driveway gets home very little sun. So hostas. I finally got my gargoyle in. So got my, again, drain pipe extensions buried and got my little friend on. I got another one for the front. So eventually he'll be out there. Mondo grass, ajuga, more heucheras, hostas, my black lace elderberry tree, which is finally blooming, which coincidentally this was my brother and his wife have given me gift certificates to garden centers the last couple of years, so this was 1 year's birthday present, and then this was their Christmas present from them. So love having a supportive family, my immediate family and my extended family, all very supportive. So get you some friends and family like that. Alright, to get in bed since husband's parked a little too close. But so those are apricot, heuchera, and that one I think is just called black. Or maybe that's the Pinot Gris. I have 3 or 4 different types in here. It's a columbine. Looks like she's trying to make a flower. And it's all starting to get fuzzy. I have to go back and watch my videos way back where I name all the varieties so I can remember what they are. More columbine. I finally put my black lace elderberry that I grew from cutting in. It's very exciting. Some of the heucheras blooming there. And that's 2 different varieties of columbine. I put those in last year. I think that's Eastern and that's Leprechaun. So it's supposed to have like the variegated leaves and a purple flower. But I put them in last year and they are perennial, so that's awesome. But I put them in a little too late to get flowers. So there's the columbine. This hosta's large and in charge here. Doing my best not to slip since everything is wet. It looks like it got rained on a good bit there. My heucheras, the hellebores look like they got beat down a little bit too. There's another elderberry. That's a officinalis grown from cutting. Hellebore there. Apricot, heuchera. Painted fern there. I've got a little lungwort hiding behind that hellebore. Those are Ice and Roses hellebore. And let's see, there's not, need to put something else in that planter. Got a little heuchera, and then let's check up on oak leaf hydrangea. And I think that's everybody.